Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sim Racing 604 Season 7. We are in event number 5. We're in the home stretch now for Season 7 here at the Inter-America Challenge. It's been quite a season so far. We've seen a lot of great drivers lead this race. And for the first time on pole, we have Joel Dallas. Tonight in the booth, I'm joined by Giancarlo Lenzi, a.k.a. Landros Radic, the Mr. Super Craig, Scary Craig as you might know him, and of course, the Gamer Scott, Mr. Paul. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for that intro, and glad to be here. Excited for the race here at Brands Hatch.
Giancarlo, it's been forever, man. Where you been?
If forever by you mean a week, yes, it has been forever. I was actually out. I had to go to a doctor's appointment for my foot, or my knee, sorry, because of mountain bike racing, or not racing, but just mountain biking.
Yeah, man.
I've been chat for the GC.
I heard you smashed your knees.
Yeah, I went on vacation and ended up kind of landing on my knees. Luckily, I had pads because the pad took the brunt of it, but my knee was just not feeling real great after that, and I thought maybe I did something else to tweak it, and so I went to a physical therapist friend, or budding physical therapist friend, and had him take a look.
Gotcha. Well, guys, we are live. The lights are green here at Brands Hatch for event number 5 in Season 7. Joel Dallas getting a great start, but Peter O'Brien is going to challenge into the turn. We have Eric Diaz and Brendan Schmeen now. Jeremy Mercer getting involved. Looks like JD Daniel getting a bit twitchy coming down the hill, and it looks like Peter O'Brien overtakes for the lead on Joel Dallas. Now Eric Diaz around. Jeremy Mercer getting down the inside on Brendan Schmeen, and it looks like Oswin Wilson fighting JD Daniels. Peter O'Brien is going to get with a much farther lead as Brendan Schmeen goes down the inside, and he overtakes Jeremy Mercer. And so far, so good for Peter O'Brien as he gets around. Not much to say for Joel Dallas, having lost it out. These two competitors so far doing a great job of bringing the entertainment. Eric Diaz, though, he's not too far behind, and he's not starting too far away as he has been in the last 2 events. It's going to be a great start here. What's going on, guys? What's on your
I'm
end?
I'm looking back at the silvers. Carlos Plaza leading the pack there in the the second class. Had a little bit of a bump in with Federico Holgado just at the start, but now he's following right behind Michael Fazal and really leading the pack for the silvers. He's got kind of a break between him and D. DeBrace. Who is following back just a few seconds behind Paulo Alex, or just half a second behind Paulo Alex.
And there goes Mike
I'm actually-
Seegers down the inside on Carlo Alex. Shut the door early on him. This is where we had an accident last night in the Bronze League. It's good to see that everything is going so good for these drivers as Eric Neville now gets involved on Eric Seegers. Down the inside he goes.
Some really close racing. A lot of bumping there on turn one.
Oh, and D. Bray is trying to get involved with Paulo Alex. You know what, Giancarlo? That Porsche is reminding me of your days back in Season 5.
You know, this is such a great track. This is probably my second favorite track, first favorite track in Europe. It's just provides such close quarters racing. It's long enough. It's like a Laguna Seca in Europe, and that's my love for it.
Man, Wes Lamy now down the inside on Christopher Greer. Such a great pack here. We have leading by Paulo Alex, Eric Neville, and D. Brace going wheel to wheel. Looks like that Mercedes is going to have the faster exit, or faster down the straight. Into the turn we go. It's going to depend on the exit for the Porsche. Wes Lamy, Christopher Greer, David Nelson all behind, getting into a truly train. Let's have the expert, Giancarlo. What's going on? What's up with this train so far?
Oh, I mean, Paulo Alex, I'm actually surprised is kind of leading this train. We've seen him in previous races and previous seasons where he's just, a little bit faster. So I'm actually surprised by his pace here, considering this is one of the easier tracks, I would say. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm just saying, maybe he just didn't have a very good qualifying and just was unlucky for qualifying.
Yeah,
Paul, what's your perspective here?
I'm just wondering, I was thinking about last race and the Bentleys, everyone was talking about them having an advantage, hitting the curbs a little bit harder because of the front engine. I'm just wondering if we're going to see some of the mid-engine guys start to catch up a little bit here. I mean, we've got McLaren leading the pack right away, right? Is that going to stay that way?
That's a very good point. Those mid engines are better, especially on some of these sweeping corners or kind of quick changing corners. As we see Peter O'Brien here leading the pack, coming up through the Hawthorne Hill, going right into Derek Minter Straight. It's those corners where you get a lot of that agility from the mid engines that really kind of outclass a lot of those Bentleys. So Bentleys are just very heavy up front, and they're just not great for the turns.
Yeah, and there's not many. There's no chicanes on Brands Hatch, right? So there's just a couple of slower turns here. It should be a good one to see some of these mid-engined cars maybe trying to pull back after the disaster last time.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see, like we were saying before, is as they come through some of these sweeping corners, is if you watch any of them through the exits, you'll start to see them push more and more. That may also be true for the NSX, as we see Diaz there go through, or Brendan Schmid following Diaz there in front of him through the turn one.
He mentions the Bentleys, and Brennan and Joel are doing a great job of keeping the pace, but for some reason just not enough to Joel Dallas. And Paul, as you recall from last week, we saw Eric Diaz and Brennan both do a great job of keeping their eyes set on the target and looking for the best striking moment. Do you think it's possible that Joel Dallas might be holding them from Peter O'Brien?
It's definitely possible at this point. Obviously, early days, right? So at this point, everyone's still getting used to the track, getting used to the cars and the cold tires. I think it's a bit too early to say, it's not going to stay this way, is it? I just kind of hope that Dallas can keep up with the rest of them now. It was a surprise comeback from him last time.
And, speaking of things not staying the same, Paulo Alex and Eric Neville are both kind of pulling away from Debray Debray now, followed up by Christopher Greer just behind him. And, Christopher Greer, we saw in previous seasons, I think specifically season 4 and 5, he was still racing the Ferrari. I think it's such a change now that Greer is maybe seeing the struggles of the Porsche this time by, especially here at Brands Hatch. I felt like the car kind of pushed it a little bit. It's rear-wheel drive. It's not so much mid-engine rear-wheel drive. And so you just kind of end up getting a little bit more weight on the rear. As we see,
Carlos
oh my goodness,
Plaza.
Lamy going off in Carlos Plaza. Just a bit of some wheel spin got them into the grass and took it for a little lawnmower ride.
And he's not reversing. Looked like he was just digging himself into the wall. Almost looks like that front axle is just done.
Yeah, it looks like there's some damage to him there. I don't think he can steer.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but hopefully it doesn't cause any more accidents. It looks like he might park it and just kind of go back to the pits and see what he can get repaired.
And
yeah, from the angle that I could see here, it looked like he'd done something to the front axle that was maybe stopping him being able to turn the wheels.
And it looks like Joel Dallas is taking the lead. Peter O'Brien dropping to P5 in that last lap.
I'll have to go back and take a look, see if there was something that happened to Peter O'Brien. Maybe he took a little bit of an off, because it looks like it from the position changes. I mean, he's dropped back nearly 3 seconds from Joel Dallas.
Yeah, that's quite a ways away. I want to bet that he took it off in that right-hander where you have to go over the dirt. I forgot the track numbers here, but I know I lost it out 3 times last night in that same corner, so that's unfortunate for Peter O'Brien. And a 5-second penalty for Schmid.
Ouch, that is going to hurt him. So is this another place where the mid-engine cars might have an advantage? The elevation changes here. There's a lot of steep inclines and declines here. You think the mid-engines will stick to the track a little bit better?
Okay, so I just found where Peter O'Brien lost. He did lose it in turn 1 on Paddock Hill Bend. As he was coming into the corner, he just shot it a little wide and the car kind of slipped out under him. And that caused him to lose those 4 positions.
That's unfortunate. Was he just too much on the throttle?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a bad entry, a little bit too much throttle going into it, and it just kind of allowed the rear end to slip out.
That's an identical situation to Conrad Abbott coming out of the final turn for the Bronze League. Caused a bit of a pileup in the back. Involved myself as well, but no fault there to Conrad. So definitely a common issue here. And you know what, Paul? Not sure too much there regarding the balance, but from how I drove the Porsche last night, definitely the rear end just found a lot of slip, which was great, but it affected the grip tremendously on exit. So I think wherever the balance just feels a lot more right there, as we see it, Joel Dallas taking the curb very liberally, having it sent wide. He regains the grip enough to avoid the grass. Ooh, that was scary for Joel.
Yeah, I can imagine those white pants are now brown pants. It's a little bit of a scary moment. But, it's like I was saying, it's like you're going to start seeing these tires drop off and they're going to start pushing on exits more as they want to be more aggressive on the throttle. And you just got to be careful with cars like that. We see it. A lot of these guys really taking a lot of that curbing in turn 1, as we saw there. We saw Eric Diaz in the rearview mirror, just taking all the curbing he could, and that's helping them stay on track. But once you get past that limit, you're going to start hitting grass. You're going to start hitting, some of the little sand traps, and that's going to upset the car a little bit.
O'Brien just went a little bit wide there as well, hitting some grass. Slowed him down, didn't lose any positions.
So we've been talking a bit about the front engine cars, looking at this close battle here with Federico and Paulo Alex, both in the AMR. Let's find out if that theory can be put to a test. Now, I don't remember correctly, but was Paulo Alex in front of Mike Seegers?
I wasn't able to catch the qualifying order, so I want to say he wasn't, because he did start in front. I believe he started in front of Carlos Plaza, which actually I'm surprised where Carlos Plaza is now.
Yeah, well, Plaza took that initial spin. But actually, you know what? I think that Seegers was ahead of Alex. So Alex has now gotten through him, and we saw in this last lap, Seegers, just a lot of oversteer on the exit. Looks like the curbs are starting to affect it. There goes Paulo Alex, getting a lot closer into the braking zone on Federico Holgado around the outside. Takes a bit of the curb, aims down the inside, gets the door shut on Federico. It's going to depend how tight he's able to maintain that apex. So far, it looks like he's getting a much better exit. It looks like Paulo Alex is getting a bit squirrely.
Yeah, I think he's just got a little more pace than Federico. Last time by, Federico had a 24.8. Paulo Alex with also a 24.8. But his best times, have each lap have been slowly catching up to Holgado. So I really think the draft is playing into it. They've got the same car, but the draft is allowing him to kind of catch up and maybe late break a little bit. So it's going to be really, really close, but it's such a hard track to really nose in on some of these. Really, you're going to be looking at turn 2 and, the last corner, the big sweeping corner of Clark Curve, as they come around. And so that's where you really have to set up how close you are and see if you can get that inside. As we watch them go through the last curve now, through the start finish and into turn 1, as they go down Paddock Hill. Seen Alex really kind of catching some of that green turf on, past the curbing.
So Medina just made moves on Robson there. It looks like Robson's getting a little bit squirrely coming out of some of these corners.
I haven't seen too much of Robson. Now, granted, I did miss last week's race. I only caught kind of the start and the finish. So, it's interesting to see where he'll end up, especially with the McLaren versus the Medina's Porsche. But, maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll say, you know what, or Medina may prove me wrong and be able to keep Robson away. But it's looking like he's having just, kind of an average race. It looks like he's got a penalty of some sort.
Yeah, that's a drive-through, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's got a drive-through penalty.
And you know what? You didn't miss too much out with Bob Robson last week. If I remember correctly, he was caught up in an accident just out of his control, and we just didn't see too much of him. He had to start from the back within the first 2 laps, and there he comes now to serve his drive-through. And this is before the pit window opens, unfortunately, so he's going to have to stop again. And even if it was open, he wouldn't be allowed to stop. So that's going to be a 2-stopper for Robson and for Marquez as he follows behind.
Okay, so it looks like he got a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact, not unavoidable. Avoidable contact with, who was this? It was Felix, the number 11 car. Is that Zachariah Felix?
How unfortunate. The pit window now opening.
Yeah.
It's
for them.
bad timing.
Really bad timing. Might want to say you do have about 2 or 3 laps in order to serve those penalties. So hopefully that when they do get them, that they try to time them a little bit better.
And we had some pretty good racing with Rob Rogerio and Christian Michelli. The Castro man doing a great job of defending the veteran. Well, both of them are, but there goes Rob Rogerio now, trying to go around the outside. They're going to go wheel to wheel down the straight. Looks like that M6 has a lot more power going into it. And there it is, Christian Michelli ceding way to the position as Rob Rogerio gets around into P3. 30, now being followed by Javier Marquez as he cleared his drive-through. The Castro man is not fully clear, and it looks like he got a bit of oversteer there, but all manageable, all under control. Remind me, Giancarlo, as you had a fascination with the NSX, where is the engine?
That, it seems like it would be a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, especially with its, I want to say it is, but it drives like a front-engine car every time I drive.
Ooh, and what a beautiful truly train here as we have the Mintzilla. We haven't really talked too much about Harrison Lynn. After season 6, he's kind of dropped off here in the Inter-America Challenge. There hasn't really been much of him, unfortunately. But I believe this is a great race as we see him with Aiden Benitez and Max Graf for P22. 3 drivers who we haven't talked too much about. Aiden Benitez, we haven't covered too much since season 4 in the GT4s.
Yeah, it's kind of a reversal. We saw at Zolder that Aiden Benitez was able to put it on pole. Unfortunately, he did not finish very well, only finishing 6th out of his class. But really showing Harrison Lynn, hey, I'm still pretty fast in this thing. Can you be faster?
Yeah, and it looks like Max Graf's just getting away. So, Paul, you might be on the money here. Although that GTR is a front-engine car, so not really sure why Lynn just does not have the pace as Max Graf is just pulling away.
Well, you also have to remember, it is a front-engine car, but it's also four-wheel drive, so there's a little extra weight. So it's about on pace with the Bentley, minus you're putting down power in all 4 wheels.
That's some great facts. I actually did not know that. I would assume that an all-wheel drive would just put the power on faster.
You'd think about it, you would, but you're also distributing the power into all 4 wheels, so it can be a little. A lot of times when people go from a rear-wheel drive car into a 4-wheel drive car, it feels very understeery unless you start to kind of put the bias more towards the rear through the powertrain. The limited slip can be modified so that, well, not in these cars, but typically you would find them modifying the limited slip in order to drive it more like a rear-wheel biased car.
But you do also have the weight of another 2 driven wheels there, right? So there's another transmission or
exactly
drive shaft in there as well, right?
Yep, exactly. And it's as much as I love those cars, especially watching them Fast and the Furious, but they can still prove their worth. We've seen Harrison Lynn bring that home on the podium more than once. And it's a very fast car with very skilled drivers behind them can take it to the podium.
No question.
Looking at a quick battle here, Bob Robson, after his drive-through, came back into the pits. He's now cleared his mandatory pit stop, and he's racing his what would you call it? His countryman, his fellow countryman here, the other Brazilian, Renato Calio. And he's under blue flags, but he knows that his pit stop is cleared. So he's going to be on his best to not let that position go. Though he's not allowed to defend. It's a tough one as Michael Medina looks like he's getting in there with Wes Lamy.
Oh, O'Brien just overtook Faisal there. Nice little shift. He's been driving hard for the last lap or 2. That one was inevitable.
That's interesting. That doesn't look this timing and scoring, man. It doesn't look like it was actually for position. It looks like Michael was all.
I think it was.
Oh, did he just?
Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah. O'Brien fell back. Yeah, he fell back after that initial spin, and so it looks like he fell back 2 more positions afterwards, because last we saw him he was in 5th.
Yep, you're correct. So I might be having an egg on my face. Maybe these mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars are not all that I thought they were going to be here.
Oh, and there goes Michael Medina once again, fighting with Wes Lamey. This battle's been going on for the last 2 laps. Looks like Wes Lamey's fighting to keep that position. Michael Medina around the outside. There he goes, making the position. Or either that or taking it back. I've already forgotten who was in front. I believe Michael Medina was in front. So for a brief second, Wes Lamey, great job of bringing in the power. One of the Lamey bros here. We haven't seen the other Lamey, but Wes, if you were Lamey number 2, you're now Lamey number 1 in my books. It's a little Sim Racing 604 history. And the pivot man managing to squeeze the position from Renato Coelho. So it's all going to come down to the pit strategy here. But we might see the pivot man shimmy his way back up to the top 15 once they've all cleared. And, you know, I'm kind of surprised that Eric Diaz has not managed to catch up to Joel Dallas just yet. So it seems that my initial assumption could have been incorrect.
So I'm taking a look back at Paulo Alex, and it looks like his battle with Federico Holgado has been over, as Federico Holgado now running in the 27th position. Not quite sure what happened there, but Paulo Alex now running in 8th position with Mike Seegers also in the 26th. I think they might have pitted. Take a look to see if they took a pit here.
Yeah, Federico's green, so looks like they're going for the undercut. We have quite a large chunk of drivers who've already cleared that pit stop, including Brennan Schmid, who's dropped from P3 down into 22.
Everyone ahead of him is going to have to pit as well pretty soon, though. You can tell these laps are starting to get a little bit more, I'm going to say anxiety-inducing. Some of these corners, you can tell everyone's sliding.
Here comes Javier Marquez now into the pits with a 5-second penalty. This is his second time in the pits after his drive-through. And you know what, Paul? I agree there. I think that just because of the nature of the racing line, there tends to be a lot of corners where you just dip it into the grass, into that AstroTurf. So I think that that's affecting the wear on the tires and possibly affecting where the track gets rubbered in, as some of that now tends to be off track and not on it. So your racing line then comes into play.
Going to start getting grass building up in the wheels and the tires as well. That's not going to help grip. Assuming it's modeled in the sim, everything else seems to be.
We're going to hope it is. And I'm pretty sure something Christopher Greer isn't hoping for is to get lapped, as we quickly see behind him Joel Dallas being chased down by Eric Diaz. Though Chris Greer has already taken his pit stop, I'm pretty sure that's a tough one there for the data man, as it looks like Eric Neville fighting with Brett Vaughn. And this is going to be for position. Eric Neville now chasing down the Porsche, aiming for a look down the inside. It looks like there's a little bit of a tap, sending Brett Vaughn wide. Now Christopher Greer gets involved. Eric Neville giving back the position. This has cleared Christopher Greer, but that's a lot of time lost for Brett and for Eric. Oh, and now Joel Dallas and Eric Diaz getting involved, going into the lap traffic. Eric Neville now letting go as the blue flags are waving. And it looks like Brett Vaughn is going to make the attempt to go wide as well. Should be able to clear both Joel and Eric. Will Eric Neville have a look? Looks like he won't, but he made contact with Eric Diaz. He sent him wide. after having that contact with Eric Neville, now his own with Eric Diaz, the Brett man just can't catch a break tonight, unfortunately. What are your thoughts on that one, Paul?
I think they should just be lucky that Mercer was so far back there. Otherwise, he would have taken both of them out.
Do you think Joel Dallas has a moment of breathing room there?
Yeah, I mean, that gap is increasing. That's like a full second that he's got now, so he's going to be happy.
And there he goes.
Not
into
as he
the
goes into the
pits.
pit, though.
Yep. Oh, track limits. Lewis do with the hard stop.
As we see Eric Diaz also following in Joel Dallas just behind him.
Oh, and Mr. No Limits is making it hard there for Joel to find his box, unfortunately.
That's going to put Jeremy Mercer out in front on track. We'll see if he comes in for his pit just after these guys.
I'm pretty sure he's smiling as he gets through Brett Vaughn safely. GC, do you think that No Limits Lewis holds it against us for remembering his Silverstone acts?
Maybe not. You never can tell, and I certainly hope he doesn't.
We'll have to make a highlight reel if that VOD is still saved.
I think we'll do that in the postseason highlight reel.
Oh man, and here he is, Mike Lewis. Doesn't get too many features, unfortunately. When he does, it never looks too good. As we have the Bentleys one more time, the Bentley Bros, as we dubbed them last race, Oswin Wilson and Mike Seegers fighting out. Unfortunately for Mike Lewis, that was a tough exit.
And I'm watching Jeremy Mercer now come into the pits as we called it. And we see Joel Dallas already coming out and around with Eric Diaz behind him about a little more than a second. He's quite a bit further back from Joel Dallas.
And someone I'm surprised to see is Rogerio Santos. As you remember, as we saw there in event number 3 in Monza, he took that early retirement, and we did not expect to see him for the rest of the season. So Rogerio, great job, man. Keep your head down. Keep it driving on track. You got speed. Don't let those moments get to you, man. So it's great to see you back on track one more time.
And we've got Eric Diaz coming out on the front straight with Jeremy Mercer now just coming out of the pits just in front of him. So now he's going to be battling with Eric Diaz for the top 3 positions, with Joel Dallas pulling away into turn 2 as these guys just start making their way through it.
This is a long pit stop for Faisal. I don't know what went wrong there.
Yeah, it looks like he's got quite a bit of time on there as we see him kind of coming out of the pits. And as we're watching Eric Diaz chase down Jeremy Mercer right in front of him in that black and yellow AMG.
Yeah, you know what? I'm almost surprised by Eric Diaz's race line there, as it looks like he has a later turn in, and Jeremy Mercer just hugs the apex much tighter. Do you think that's just a product of his tires or strategic?
That could be a product of the tires. As we talked about before with the NSX, especially in one of the post races from 2 races ago, was it was something that you don't normally see a lot of people drive, because it's got a very fast reaction as far as turn in, but the amount of everybody's got the same tires, but the amount that the suspension can keep gripping is not the same. So I think you'll see a lot of aggressive turn in order to kind of counteract that, and so you see this really strange looking line come through, but that's just how you have to drive the car.
With a nice move by Mercer to get around Santos, But it looks like Eric Diaz also gets around, so that's not going to aid him. And it looks like Brendan Schmid is not too far behind as Peter O'Brien back into 5th as well. So this top 5 battle's still going on. It's no one's safe just yet.
Yeah, Brendan Schmid not too far behind. If they can keep getting held up by traffic, that's going to boon well for Brendan. He's going to be able to catch up by another car length here or there, and that's going to put this, two-way battle into a three-way battle for the podium positions.
Oh, and there goes the cruise missile, making room, almost making contact. But he gets away nicely. Now Rogerio Santos is going to have to allow Brendan Schmid to go through. There goes Brendan down the inside. And now they're going to have to try to clear the H-Man who goes for the block.
That's just rude.
Oh, that's typical Harrison Lynn. We've come to know and love that from him.
Yeah, they got to remember that these guys, while they're racing very similar cars, they are not in the same class. So Harrison Lynn wanting to keep that position from Rogerio Santos, but not be interrupted. And it really is up to these, the podium drivers that are racing behind in order to pass safely. It's really up to them. So, you don't make your room. You keep holding your line. Don't mess up the battles of the other classes if you can help it. THR flip mode in the chat saying, come on. I'm not quite sure if that was recent or just happened just now, but good to see that the Twitch chat's still happening.
I believe that's in response to the contact with Vaughn and Eric Neville, potentially with Eric Diaz as well. Who, by the way, I believe they are teammates both for THR. As now Brendan Schmid still fighting to get around Harrison Lynn. Peter O'Brien has now bridged that gap. And there goes the H-Man. He makes contact.
Oh, it looks like that was a slight tap on Brennan's front left, but that was a hard spin for Harrison Lynn, unfortunately.
How lucky was Schmid? That could have been his. That could have been his race.
Did that cost Lynn any positions? I don't think it did, which is kind of lucky as well.
I think that cost him. Yeah, that cost him Rogerio Santos in order to go by, and also Christian Michelli. Yep.
Yeah, he lost too.
Joel Dallas now getting around David Manice, but quickly in the rear view mirror, we have Jeremy Mercer catching up now, about to join the fray for the battle for the race lead, as Eric Diaz is not too far behind, and so is Brendan Schmid and Peter O'Brien coming down the straight. 15 minutes left. That's a lot of race to go. Zach Felix getting out of the way. Great job by Zach Felix, understanding who's on track. That's great track awareness. Brendan Schmid setting it wide, but it looks like that AstroTurf keeps it nicely. I wonder if Peter O'Brien is going to have the same respect for Brendan as he does for Joel Dallas.
Oh, the pace is so close.
Yeah, these guys are very, very competitive in their times. But it's looking like Brendan Schmid might just be starting to feel those tires just give way a little bit. And maybe I can take that egg off my face. And Peter O'Brien can really show us what those mid-engines can do, as we see them both kind of take a lot of curb and some sand out of turn one on Paddock Hill. But you can see how close, how very close Peter O'Brien can close in on those tight corners.
Oh, losing control there, setting a bit wide. But yeah, you're right. Look at that braking. Just catches up so much. Gets into a nice slipstream. It almost feels like the Bentley just gets away down the straight. Potentially that collision with Harrison Lynn might be affecting his aero going into the braking zone. And Mercer now building a substantial gap from Eric Diaz.
Oh, moves coming.
Oh, it looks like there's a little bump and grinding from Peter O'Brien trying to get that inside.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
This has got to be frustrating for Peter O'Brien as we look at the tail fin view from Brendan Schmid. Just seeing how close you can barely see that car covered up by that wing.
It's a good thing that's a subtle paint job to blend in.
It's very subtle.
Oh, and there goes David Benice now. He's going to have to make the room as they go wide. Both get around nicely. Shout out there to David Benice. One more time there, we see Peter O'Brien just much wider out of that turn.
Yeah,
Same thing as well.
Just a report from Joel Dallas, Jeremy Mercer, and Eric Diaz in the top 3 positions there in the pro class is there is not much of a change. This battle's still kind of going on just as it was, but Joel Dallas putting down a 1:23.3 last lap with Jeremy Mercer a 1:23.5 and Eric Diaz a 1:23.9. So if these guys have any hope of catching Joel Dallas in the next 10 minutes, they have really got to keep up their pace, stop battling each other, and kind of keep it going. THR Snakey saying, bummed I missed the race. Love Brands Hatch. Go Diaz and Sweeney.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about Christopher Sweeney chasing down Michael Medina at the moment for 21, or for P20. But it looks like Michael Medina is quite a ways away, as is Joel Dallas. So he's got to be feeling the pressure.
If we're going to look at the class standings, Chris Sweeney is chasing after Max Graf, who we were talking about earlier, who is in the P19 position overall. And it looks like it might actually happen if their pace stays the same. Right now, we're looking at Max Graf. Well, you're not looking at Max Graf. You're watching Jeremy Mercer battle Eric Diaz. But from the report standings, last lap was a 1:25.7 from Graf, with Sweeney pulling a 1:24.9. So that might actually happen sometime soon.
Yeah, and class-wise, Max Graf is not off the pace there, as he's running P4 at the moment. So that's a great result. Casper Minda P3, Wes Lamy P2, and DB Cooper, aka D Braze, P1, P9 overall.
Yeah, what a result from D Bray. You got me almost saying DB Cooper. From D Braze, he's doing a fantastic job there in the silver class. I think we might have to bump him up, next season into the pro class. Not that we have that call. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you know what? He came in halfway in through this season, and from the start, he became a name to be reckoned with. There wasn't too much of, fumbling around in the backfield. He quickly joined and has been a great contender in the midfield overall, but he's leading now in his, I believe, third race, the silver class. So, yeah, I think you have a point there. D Braze is a force to be reckoned with, as it almost looks like Brendan Schmid has closed the gap with Peter O'Brien in tow to Eric Diaz. We can quickly see them in the further edge of the camera view. Oh, this is going to be a great battle to talk about in chat. Post-race in Discord, I mean.
Another great one to talk about too will be Peter O'Brien's feelings on Brendan Schmid and how these two were going at it. It looks like they've kind of strung out just a little bit. They've given each other some space. Maybe Peter was just like, I don't need to be that close if he's going to fight that hard for it. But it looks like he's closing the gap now. It looks like he had a very good exit as we watch Paulo Alex chasing down
Fed.
I'm actually surprised they were kind of catch each other at this point. Last we saw, Paulo Alex was in the 8th position.
Yeah, and I think it's been a tough season overall for Paulo Alex. We saw him pretty strong in Season 6, and after Monza, it just seems like he's lost a bit of that confidence. And it looks like Jeremy Mercer is now going to catch up to Rogerio. And it looks like Rogerio's chasing down Benitez. So he's in close sight of his battle. Doesn't seem like it was affected too much by Joel Dallas, but we're going to see how that now goes for the way of Mercer. As we saw with Lynn, it was not an easy overtake. And unfortunately, Brendan Schmid did take a bit of a hit.
Ooh, as we see Rob go a little squirrely there and down through Paddock Hill. It's not where you want to be squirrely at all.
Oh, and the number 37 spins out and makes contact with 49. And there they are. It's Bob Robson and Javier Marquez. Oh, and now they're going to get in the battle with Eric Diaz. Eric Diaz now catching up to Jeremy Mercer.
Very, very close. It looks like he might be taking the move on the outside. Doesn't look like there's enough room for it. That would compromise his turn in, but looks like he's got a very good exit. As they come up through the kink of Dingledale Westfield.
That's a funny name.
Coming in through Sheen Curve. Down into Sterling's, and Eric Diaz looks like he's backing off just a little bit.
And Bob Robson into the wall.
Oh.
Thankfully for Brendan Schmid and Peter O'Brien, they were able to clear that a lot sooner. There's Harrison Lynn and Rob Rogerio now.
I think that earlier collision was just enough to put Bob Robson a little bit out of the zone. Just mess up his timings a little bit.
Yeah, as we saw in last event as well, it's just not been the best season so far for Bob Robson. He was a great job. He did a great job in Season 6. Pretty much became a household name here at 604. As he joined halfway this season, it just does not look like he's had the best of luck, unfortunately. Oh, and Brendan Schmid getting caught up. Peter O'Brien trying to do his best to get around the lap traffic to keep up with the pace of the Ethereum Stormtrooper.
He did have to let off the gas there, which is definitely going to help Mercer out.
Oh, and Brendan wanting Rogerio to make way. There he goes, makes the move around the outside. Peter O'Brien is not going to get so lucky. He is going to get held up just a bit. Oh, and he makes contact.
Oh, no.
Keeps it on track.
That is going to really upset him. That battle is going to be over now.
Unfortunately, that battle is now over unless Brendan Schmid makes another mistake that gives him space back to Peter O'Brien. We've got a little more than 5 minutes left in this race. And our current leaders are Joel Dallas, Jeremy Mercer, and Eric Diaz. But that battle is still heating up with Brendan Schmid in 4th and Peter O'Brien in 5th.
And in other news for Javier Marquez, he does a great job of getting around Rob Rogerio, taking a wider line, goes into the marbles. He's going to keep his position, however, for P25. I'm pretty sure Rob Rogerio is going to be feeling pretty guilty on that one, as he's also lost out to his race as well. How's the field looking on your end, Paul?
Sorry, you cut out for a second there. Pardon?
How's the field looking on your end?
I think unless Joe Dallas makes a massive mistake at this point, it's his. I think the more interesting competition is for second, third. That is the one that's going to make the big difference here. If I was O'Brien, I would be fuming at the lap traffic. But like you were saying before, like they can't necessarily always get out of the way. So they have a racing light to think about as well. So I get that, but yeah, he is going to be salty.
And we have a nice little train here with DB Cooper followed by Fed and Paolo Alex.
Yeah, I think DB Cooper, they're going to be holding up Federico, which is going to allow Paolo Alex to just kind of take a pick.
He tries to go around the outside and Federico sends it into the wall. Michael Fazal gets around. That's that battle with Paolo Alex now over for Holgado.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. That turn one is such a tricky endeavor. In order to make a pass on the inside, you've got to have a lot of trust between you and the other drivers, and it looks like some of that trust kind of ran out.
It almost looked like he sent it around the outside and just forgot there was a turn. Just came up against the hill and just sent it straight. Kind of reminds me of your battle with Conti back in season 5.
Yeah, as we were coming in through Hawthorne Hill, that was a bad thing on my part.
Slight tap on the end of DB there from Rogerio. As I saw a green car, and it looks like that's Eric Narfson. Might be Eric Narfson coming out of the grass. And that is Narfson limping that car now.
Yeah, Eric not having the best of races, pulling in that 36th position. But not as bad as Bradley Busick's having right now, as he's in a 37th position, but he is far, far back down the line.
Yeah, and you know what?
15-second penalty there for Marquez as well.
We haven't talked about Busick at all.
25th.
Yeah, Javier Marquez also just not the best of luck tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, fortunately for him, he doesn't have to actually stop and serve that penalty. That's a 15-second penalty applied to his position standing at the end of the race. However, it looks like Bob Robson picking up that drive-through penalty for avoidable contact.
The pivot man just can't shake off that bad luck tonight.
Unfortunate, Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, just not the best of luck out here. Ooh, Brett Vaughn getting a bit spicy. Looks like it's with Michael Medina, not for position, but still some racing on track.
So we got a little bit more than a minute left in this race. Joel Dallas still leading in position number 1 in the pro class with Jeremy Mercer. And Eric Diaz still battling it out for second and third. Brennan Schmid in fourth, and Peter O'Brien in the 5th position. To go back to the silver class, DB Cooper, D. Bray pulling up that first position in the silver class.
Yeah, he's
Followed
pretty
by
much
Michael
leading.
Fazal.
And he gets around from Paolo Alex, or at least he maintained that lead. So now Fed Holgado is back in the fray with Paolo Alex. It looks like these two are match for match in terms of pace here at Brands Hatch.
I think I want to say Paolo Alex is a little bit faster than D. Bray, but there's not a lot of luck here in order to make that pass. That they've got such a good competitive speed, but he's just a little bit faster, but it's just not enough in order to get alongside and make a pass completion, as if this was football.
And as we come now into the final lap, we have a great train here led by Christopher Greer, followed by Dan Lund and Wes Lamy for P14. There goes Dan Lund with the faster exit on Christopher Greer. Wes Lamy got the toe. It looks like they are going to get around Christopher Greer. It's all going to come down into the turn. Looks like Christopher Greer attempts to shut the door. Wes Lamy doing a great job of getting right behind Christopher Greer, avoiding the contact. But Dan Lund has it made now, getting that P14.
Diaz and Mercer are really, really close now. I think Mercer got caught in the lap traffic again, and Diaz just went straight through. So this is now turned into anyone's second place.
Yeah, I think if Eric Diaz is going to make the move, it has to be now.
As Gold Racer 7 says in the chat, bring it home, Joel. And referencing Joel Dallas, our first place position, now on the very last lap.
Oh, no, it's
That's
done.
it.
Diaz ran wide up the grass there.
Still plenty of opportunity for Jeremy Mercer to also run wide, maybe on the very last corner. I don't want to commentator's curse it, but
we did plenty of that last week.
While it's not the photo finish we had back in Season 5, there it is, Joel Dallas coming in for P1. That's his first place finish here at 6:04, followed by Jeremy Mercer, Eric Diaz, Brendan Schmid, Peter O'Brien. There comes now Joel Dallas, or JD Daniel, as he approaches the line for P number 6. Not too much there from the Lexus. Did not see too much. Mike Seegers as well. Quite a quiet racing after him and Oswin Wilson had their battles in the first couple laps. Oswin finishing P8. And now here comes Paolo Alex, who got around DB Cooper. Paolo Alex going to finish P10. D Braves P1 for the Silver Glass, 11 overall. And it looks like he might have run out of fuel because he let Fedho Gatto through. And he's slowing down quite a bit.
I think he might have short fueled, so he won't be able to make it back to the pits at all. Well, not without a tow. But that puts Casper Minda in second, who's now coming into the last corner, followed by Wes Lamy. Both not too far from each other, with Max Graf pulling in that fourth position in the silver class.
Yeah, that's a great job. And Wes Lamy for P3 for the silver class. Did not see too much of David Nelson tonight.
Low key 876 says great run, great will Dallas, and nice run Aussie. So it looks like we got a teammate from or a fan of Joel Dallas and Oswin Wilson, who Oswin pulled in I want to say an 8th position.
Yeah, he did. That's a great job by Oswin.
So everybody stick around. As we take a short break, we'll come back with some driver interviews. And go ahead and take it away.
Well, guys, you said it all. Stick around. The post-race show is about to begin. We're going to have our first 3 commentator booth here in the post-race show, so it's about to get a little cramped. But hopefully we have a great chat with everyone, and stick around. So, and also some of the drivers join the chat as well. So, let's hope it gets a little fun here. So we'll see you back in a bit. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, if you're still here, thank you for sticking around. We are live with the post-race show as we take a look back here at event number 5. Quite a race we had. Not a lot of drama at the start. Thankfully, I believe that after Monza, things have gotten a little bit stricter there with the rules, but so far we had a great clean launch at the front of the grid. We're going to take a look at the rear, see how that went. Quite of a bit of an exciting battle with the top 5 towards the second stint at the end of the race. And I believe we'll soon be joined by a few drivers who are currently waiting in the green room. Paul, is there anything that caught your eye this race?
I think Paul kind of stepped away, but I'll go ahead and fill in for him. I'm gonna say, the big thing that caught my eye this race was that Joel Dallas pulling in that first position, for his season here at 604. It's a long time coming. We've seen him so fast, and just kind of fall short just a little bit from unlucky circumstances, lap traffic. Something happened, and it was nice to see him actually pull in that win tonight. So that was kind of the thing that surprised me. What about you, Gerson?
Yeah, you know what? I believe this is the first time we've seen Joel Dallas as our race winner. So I'm pretty excited. It's been a long time coming. I believe it's 3 seasons now. So it's been great, as Low Key 876 said. Great job, Joel.
And speaking of Joel, Joel's here with us now for his post-race interview. Joel, you really kind of ran away with it there. Once those first few laps kind of got over, all the battles kind of took place. Peter had his bit of off on turn 1, and you ran away with the race. You kept Jeremy Mercer and Eric, at bay. They ended up having their own kind of battle for second place. How would your race go?
Hey guys, and yeah, I agree. I did. Most things went my way tonight, thankfully. Peter got me around the outside on turn 1 as usual, but he bottled it, I think, a lap or 2 in, and I was able to hold it from there. Had enough pace to hold off Eric. He had me sweating in the first part, but thankfully had enough pace, and I think I had my best pit stop of the season so far, so that definitely helped. And then obviously Eric and Jeremy had their own battle, so that helped me as well. I didn't have to push to the absolute limit. So yeah, it was a very good race, and I'm really happy with my win tonight.
Now we actually caught you on camera taking your pit stop. It looked like you had a little bit of a scare there, right at the pit start. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened there?
I don't feel like I had a scare. Maybe it looked worse on camera, but I caught up pretty quickly to lap traffic coming into the pits.
I think he might be referring to Mike No Track Limits Lewis with kind of a bit of a hard stop as he approached the line there. Almost looked like you might have made a little bit of contact, but you sort of saved it.
But it didn't feel that way to me. I practiced the pit stop, so I knew where the line was. So I feel like I was prepared slowing down right there. Maybe it looked worse on camera, but it was okay for me.
Yeah, it could have been a little bit of netcode. It looked like there was maybe a bump, but I'm glad nothing happened, and that your pit went swimmingly. We saw from Zolder that you had a third place qualifier, and then a second place finish, just behind Mercer. How did your race compare from then to now?
I think the difference was qualifying this time, actually. Really managed to put in a good lap this time, and that definitely helped. As we know, it's very hard to pass on these types of tracks, and with all this competition, everyone is really, really close, so it's very hard to pass, and that's kind of what happened at Zolder. So yeah, I think qualifying made a difference tonight. I hardly do practice qualifying much, but it definitely made a difference tonight.
Yeah, you had an excellent qualifying time of 1:22.7, which was about 2/10 faster than Peter O'Brien, and it was just great to see you back up there. It's been a long time coming, and for the rest of the season, what are you looking forward to?
Well, we have Spa next week. My favorite circuit, I think, maybe of all time. I might not, don't know if I'll be the quickest there. The McLarens are really quick, and the Merc, everyone is going to be quick. So I'm going to have to put in a lot of practice for next week, see if we can get a good result. But I'm really looking forward to it. I love Spa, and I absolutely love racing with these guys. I've had a fantastic season so far. Everyone is very competitive, but very friendly, and it's been really good.
That's awesome. And we're really looking forward to it. There was a bit of, I'll actually save this question for the three of you once we get through the rest of the driver interviews. But congratulations again on your win. We've got Jeremy Mercer and we have Eric Diaz here in the wings. We'll start with Jeremy Mercer. Jeremy, congratulations on your second place. How hard were you fighting to keep Diaz behind you?
Pretty hard to maintain pace. Towards the end of the race, I was pretty slow in the turn 2 hairpin, and you'd always be on my tail through there. But luckily, I had the power to extend out of that turn, and it's pretty difficult to pass here. So I knew as long as I didn't make any mistakes and got by the lap traffic cleanly, I could keep the position. I had a bit of a scare with some lap traffic at one point, but managed to keep it together, I guess.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of lap traffic that looked like it may have been causing some drivers some grief, or at least a little bit of frustration as their battles kind of whittled out, or just kind of ended up being broken up a little bit. But for the most part, I think everybody kind of stuck together and was able to get through clean. There wasn't too much. Well, I wouldn't say too much carnage. There were definitely some penalties that ended up being served. Was this kind of what you were expecting this race? Were you expecting a lot of, long drawn out battles?
I was expecting it to be difficult to pass. Really, I wasn't expecting to be able to keep up with the top three at the start of the race. It was clear, from the very start of the race, it was clear that I did not have the pace to keep up with Joel, Peter, or Eric Diaz. Or Brennan either. I guess I was in 5th place. And so I was just focusing on staying close enough to Brennan so that I can maybe jump him when he takes his 5-second penalty. I wasn't able to do that, and actually Eric Diaz made a mistake, got me within 2 seconds, and I managed to jump him on the pit too. So I had a real clean pit stop, which I guess really gave me the position.
Yeah, that was an excellent exit. We saw it. We caught it on camera as you pulled out just in front of Eric Diaz, and not too far behind Joel. So that was exciting to see that battle form up. I'm kind of out of questions, other than if Gerson or Paul, you guys want to step in, ask some questions. But congratulations, Jeremy. It was a good, hard fought battle for second, and congratulations for me missing Zolder last week on your first place position there.
Thank you.
If you guys got no questions, let's move on to Eric Diaz. Eric Diaz, 3rd place. We saw you battling with Joel. Is a lot of what they said so far really just kind of an echo for you? Is it just kind of like ditto?
I don't know. I'm just trying to battle my hardest, though definitely sure. It's nice battling against these guys. They're definitely clean, and they're definitely pushing me to my limit with what I could get out of this NSX.
Is Brands Hatch one of your favorite tracks?
Funny enough, I really never was around here, but it's a nice track. I only got 22 like this today, but a bit of practice. Track's nice. The curbs are not exactly not very nice. Take away your tire pressures, and all of a sudden you're gonna be flat. Having flat.
Yeah, thankfully we didn't see that happen this race to you guys while you're battling. How was the pressure being behind Jeremy for most of the race?
I was just more trying to pressure him into a mistake. It wasn't much pressure on my end, as I just want to at least either end up in 3rd or 2nd. I wasn't going to try and make any too aggressive moves. At least just try to pick it nice and easy. And well, if he makes a mistake, I get the place. But if he doesn't, well, 2nd place where I'll agree with it. I'm doing the best I can, so I'm happy with it.
I mean, if you're not first, you're last, and if you're not rubbing, that ain't racing.
Let's just say I got very close to his bumper. I hope that counts.
Well, I'm just glad that Ricky Bobby wasn't some advice that you took, and that you you came away clean. It was a very good race. We caught you guys for most of the broadcast, and this, I want to ask all three of you guys a question. It doesn't look like we have anybody else in the wings from the silver class in waiting, or anybody else to talk. So, earlier in the race, we were thinking that maybe the front engine cars were going to have a harder time coming through on these exits. It looked like that was kind of ringing true, where a lot of people were getting towards the end of the stint on their tires, and they're having a hard time on exits, really taking a lot of curb. But a lot of more of the mid-engine cars were kind of just being able to snake through, use some of their lighter weight and weight distribution to get through. Did you guys feel that ringing true? And please say yes, because I could take this egg off my face.
Keep that egg on your face.
Very succinct. All right. Jeremy, Joel, do you guys have any comments about that?
I'm gonna be honest. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say I don't really know the total balance between the cars. They seem pretty balanced. The front engine cars definitely have trouble getting the traction down, but at least for the Mercedes, its low end acceleration is actually very good. So once you get the traction, you can accelerate out of turns faster. I had some issue maintaining grip through some of the high-speed right-handers, and people would tend to get close to me. But other than that, it seems pretty balanced given how close we are together.
And we just saw, you guys didn't see it on the replay, but if you're watching Gerson's stream, we saw Eric, you just towards the last lap, the battle broke up, and you kind of had an off. What happened there? Was that just being caught a little unawares?
Just me trying to push a bit too hard, but not too hard, I guess. And the NS6 really doesn't have that much blunt downforce compared to like the Mercedes, the Bentley. They have just enough blunt downforce to at least get around the corners pretty easily. And that kind of struggles with this kind of thing, but put a lot of make onto it, so did what I could.
Yeah, it's a tough car to drive, at least from my experience with it. So still props to you for really keeping it up there.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm
sorry. Go ahead, Joel.
Downforce.
Actually, I believe that's Paul.
Oh, sorry.
It was briefly.
No, just gonna add. Sorry.
No, on you go.
And I'm just gonna add to what these guys were saying. I think the cars are pretty evenly balanced. I can't say much for the NSX. I've never really driven it. I've heard it's difficult. So I know Eric is doing a great job.
Who said it is?
Davin Sturdivant said it is, and I'll let him call me out and clip that on the stream.
I think the only place that I feel the Bentley does struggle, which is Paul Ricard. I think that's probably the only track, literally in ACC, that I feel at a slight disadvantage in the Bentley. And it can be quick there. You really have to put in a lot of laps. But apart from that, I think we're very even everywhere.
It's good to hear. Was there anything during the race that you guys really had a kind of a moment that you really want to talk about?
Actually, echo what Jeremy said about Eric pulling up on him onto the hairpin, turn 2. He would close up to me there every lap as well. So I don't know what it was, but he had very good performance right there.
I made sure to put the brake bias very rearward, so if there's one thing I was going to get, it's pretty much just braking performance compared to everyone else.
Well, it was working for sure.
Yep.
And we get some chat in Twitch. Paulo Alex says the Honda, it's a Porsche version 2. With Pedantic Squirrel saying Bentley OP, please need. I'm not quite sure about the grammar there, but Eric, Joel, and Jeremy OP, please nerf. I won't agree with that, but from a commentator's side, I think it provides for some exciting racing.
JD, thank you for your comment, JD. That's JD Daniel.
Oh, that he has a point. That's what's his team name? Pedantic Squirrel Racing, something like that. Yeah, we didn't see too much of
Daniel.
JD, unfortunately.
Yeah, we only kind of caught him at the end, but he did pull in a top 10, I believe the top 10 position in the pro class.
Actually, Joel, here's a question. What was that moment, Peter O'Brien taking away the race lead in the first couple laps?
Again, same thing at Zolder, same thing here. I thought that I would have been fine here because I don't know, but he had a lot of grip on the outside somehow. I was taking it really easy. I didn't want to push too wide. But yeah, he got around and I couldn't hold a position going into turn 2, so I was like, okay, well, next strategy is to wait till the tires come up to pressure and try to attack somewhere.
And what do you think of that, like, almost karma moment, or just the irony of the fact that you took back the race win because of his mistake in the same corner he took away the race lead from you?
Yeah, I don't know how to look at it. I guess, yeah, he just made a mistake. I didn't look at it as karma per se, but
No, not karma at all. But just the irony of his race win move into the same corner in which he lost the race. Or
yeah, put it this way: I'm happy I didn't have to fight for it. I'm happy I didn't have to fight for it because it's always going to be difficult trying to pass here. So both Peter and I were pretty competitive, and we know how that could end if it goes down to the wire. So I'm happy I didn't have to fight for it.
it looks like, Giancarlo, you might be able to wipe partially some of the egg off your face. THR Sparky might have be in agreement with you.
Oh, awesome. Yes. All right, egg wiped. A funny note that the Honda,
a little bit,
is what he says. Funny note that the Honda does have a similar weight bias to the Porsche, so you aren't that wrong. And also all the turbo power, of course, with VTEC support.
You guys know who THR Sparky is, right?
Yeah, that's Eric.
Yes, indeed.
It's the THR. I was like, maybe Chris Sweeney.
We didn't see too much about. We did see him kind of battle with Medina a little bit and Marquez.
Yeah, he chased down Medina pretty much the entire time.
Before Bob Robson ended up having kind of an incident towards the end, which collected who was that? Was that Santos?
No. He had one out, which made contact with Schmid. And then...
Was it Colo?
No. Javier Marquez.
Oh, it was Marquez. Okay. Oh, we got somebody in the green room. Somebody who I've been following in the chat. Peter O'Brien, our 5th place positioner in the pro class. Peter, you went from first after in the first lap to losing quite a few positions throughout the race. What happened there, my friend?
You know how I talk every week about overdriving the car? I did exactly that. It was a great example of what not to do. I was staring at the relative, I think on like lap 3, and just didn't brake, and basically had to do all I could to save the car from going into the wall. And then I think on the next lap, I dipped a tire in the dirt and spun around in a circle, so I was in like P8 after that.
Yeah, we were wondering what happened there because I went back and looked at what happened on the first lap, and you definitely looked like your entry was a little, well, I'll say interesting, but it was a little disheartening to see you go from P1 and drop back three positions or 4 positions. And then, in the next couple laps, after covering a couple battles, we saw you in P8, and we're like, well, what happened there? But we did see you have a very good battle, or at least a somewhat frustrating battle with Brendan Schmid. It looked like you had the pace on him for most of the time that you were behind, but he was making it very, very hard to pass. We know Brands Hatch is not a pass-friendly track. There's only very select few spots that you can do that in. What was that like? Were you frustrated for most of that race?
I'm especially frustrated right now, just because seeing the pace that I had at the beginning of the race and what led to it. But no, it was really annoying being behind Brennan because I know he's very defensive, and we were going up through, I think it's T6, the blind right-hander, and we were going up the hill, and I kind of had a run on him, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my nose in here, and then he just slides across the track, and I'm like, all right, well, can't pass now. It was kind of a long race. We were just dealing with a lot of traffic, both of us. I think if if there weren't like 3 cars going through the last lap, I seen Brennan dipped his tire in the dirt coming into the last couple corners, and I made up like a second and a half on him. I was like, oh, if there wasn't a car in front of me, I might have caught him, but I don't know. I guess that's just the nature of Brands Hatch. It's a frustrating track. I'm excited to go to a track where you can actually pass people next week, is all I can say.
Well, it'll be good, especially at Spa, because you can really put a lot of that downforce and lightweight to use in the McLaren there. But we hope that you really stick with it towards the end of the season, that you don't switch careers into rally. As
Thinking about it.
As we're seeing some that McLaren may be investing in rally cars, so I don't know, it might be a good opportunity for you. What are you looking forward to for Spa outside of the passing opportunities?
I'm looking forward to being able to think, being able to look through the menus of my pit stop and not die. Looking forward to my wrists not hurting at the end of the race because I can sit back and relax for a few seconds while we drive down the straights instead of just turning constantly.
Oh man, I know what that's like. Just being able to shake off your hand on that straight is just something that you learn to appreciate in sim racing. And I can imagine real race drivers being like, "Yeah, dude, yeah, me too."
Hey, Peter,
Hey.
did you make contact with a blue flag at one point?
With Rob, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't think we made contact. I never got a message in the corner of my screen or whatever. It was very, very close. This is probably the last lap that you're seeing on stream right now, or I'm seeing. But no, I don't think I ever hit anyone. I came very close to tapping Jeremy in like lap 5 or whatever it was coming into that corner right there. And I came very, very close to hitting Rob. I don't know what lap it was on, but it was very, very tight.
What do you think of the contact with Harrison Lynn and Schmid? Code Brown there
honestly
for you?
couldn't even. Oh, that. Oh my God, yes. I hit the brakes and I was like, I'm just gonna act like that didn't happen. This race has already been chaotic enough. I'm just going to pretend that I didn't just see someone kill themselves and then get hit another time.
Yeah, that was definitely a suit changing moment. Peter, or sorry, not Peter. Paul, we haven't heard much from you for post race, but we got one of the drivers you like to talk about. Wes Lamey joins us. Wes, you ended up with oh shoot, I actually forgot what position you ended up with. Hold on one second.
Wes, by the way, you've now become Lamey #1 after tonight's race.
Glad to hear. Feel like it's been a long time coming, but
Wes,
yeah.
I believe you pulled up the second place position in the silver class, if I'm not mistaken.
Either second or third. There was on the next to last lap. There was me and Greer were battling, and had a little off, but it was kind of a 50-50 incident. We were both kind of going for it, so.
Well, yeah, I think it was. Well, Greer wasn't in the same class, so Greer is actually in the pro class. So you were ahead of Casper Minda, so that puts you second, and Casper ended up third. So congratulations to you. We don't get too many silvers to come in and chat about the race. How was your race overall?
It was pretty good. After Monza and then the nightmare that was Zolder for me, I was actually just happy to have a clean race where part of it was kind of hot lapping, but yeah, it felt good to actually feel like, okay, maybe I'm reaching a little bit more of potential than dealing with the car with damage the entire race or something.
Ooh, there's the moment I think you were talking about.
Oh yeah. Right into.
It looks like
right into Sheen Curve as you guys came up.
Not sure if Greer turned in early or just wasn't aware how close you guys were.
Yeah, I think I was also maybe a little hot too and all that, so I think it's just kind of both of us kind of combined, just doing some hard racing, coming to the end of the race, and like I said, I was kind of doing some hot lapping, so I was like, I'm ready to just do some racing door to door, and already it's been a lot better racing the past couple weeks, so in my book it was kind of a win. So I'm not too upset.
It's another one of those situations where I wonder if a front engine car might not have come off so badly in that collision. Just looking at that replay, like that was the front end being light that spun him off.
That's actually a pretty good point, and that's a good question for the physics gods. But not to make this too long, congratulations, Wes, on a good recovery, being able to pull in second in silver. Another person is waiting in the wings, and we're going to get to him before we close out for the stream. Casper Minda joins us, our third place silver.
K-Pax.
What's going on, fellas?
How's it going, sir?
It's good. Finally had a decent result. A little bit of a rough start, though.
Yeah, well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about that rough start.
Well, lap one on the back straight, we were coming around the curve, and there was a Ferrari there. I forgot who it was, but we were side by side and real close. And I think he just was in the marbles or dipped his wheel and pushed me off. And I had a little bit of aero damage, nothing in the suspension, so I didn't even fix it. So the whole race I was with aero damage. I didn't see the point in fixing it. I could control the car, so.
How did you feel
that
that
from there?
and you felt like the Bentley was staying true to its roots and being just as fast as it was at Zolder?
Well, yeah, I would say it's definitely a good track for it. I was losing time on the straights, and I would whoever I was following, I would gain on them in sector 3, and then in sector 1 I would lose them again, so I was going back and forth with Bray like the whole back half of the race, and eventually I just dipped a wheel and he took the spot from me. But I'm happy with where I ended up. So
yeah, that looked like a rough turn into the wall, so I'm glad that it wasn't too damaging to your race. It's always heartbreaking to see when that happens, and then a driver has to retire. So congratulations to you.
I was nervous coming on right there.
I mean, and all that traffic, yeah, I would be too. I would have, for me myself, I would have held back a little bit, honestly. So props to having the balls to continue on like that.
Slight hijacking mode here. You can see that battle with Santos and Marquez, all happening in front of Minda here. A bit of a contact.
Bump.
Yeah.
just a little, hey, move over.
And just watch this turn right here. It's payback, and then they both go off.
Ooh.
All right, continue. Sorry about that.
So yeah, I don't got too much more. If you guys got questions for each other, shoot, we'd love to hear them.
We've never seen anyone kind of argue about a race moment. I guess we've been fortunate enough, but we've never had like a super heated moment on track where both drivers were here in the booth. And I don't think we'll have one tonight, but
I can't argue with Brennan, so he's not here.
I'm too nice to argue with people.
Well, I'm going to call out Aiden Benitez. When I was racing in season 4 and I turned in on Hawthorne, that jerk just like was way up in my grill, and I needed to just boot him off.
Oh, this is a Twitch clip moment.
Joel, what were you saying? I heard my name.
I was just saying we argue all the time.
Oh, we argue all the time, but in a way that's not heated. In a way that's more like haha, funny arguing, haha.
Yeah, it's gonna be less friendly at Spa, I promise, because there's so much drafting and there's so much.
Well, I'm
You guys
excited
are
for
quicker
Spa.
than me on the straights, and it's not gonna be. It's
I'm
not
running
gonna be
one wing
friendly.
just because you said that.
Well, you probably spin in turn 2 again.
Well, I didn't spin. I didn't brake. There was
Also,
no.
remember Spa is your maybe it's inaugural pit blocking time. I don't know. Just let me know when you
Yes,
plan
he's
to do it,
throwing
so
out
I can.
all the punches this time. It's all right. I'll try and practice or qualifying or something. That way, when they go by on the track, they just hear yellow flag in sector 3 for the whole qualifying.
Federico says that you might be studying instead of racing.
I probably should. He's not wrong. I actually took a midterm. I finished it as practice began, and then immediately got on and started practicing. So yeah, I probably should, but whatever.
Academic career for a racing career.
I mean, I'm cool with that. I don't know. It could lead somewhere, right, Mom and Dad? I promise.
I think he just missed Joel too much.
That too, yeah. I don't know. I was just excited to, hold my right foot down for a while, but you can't do that here at Brands too much. That's why I'm excited for next week.
Well, it was pretty interesting just watching you guys in practice and qualifying. As Brian was rattling on, we were looking at times, and we saw Joel had kind of the top time in practice, and then towards qualifying, Peter, you kind of fell below that, but with the qualifying times being as close as they are, do you guys ever feel like that really runs into the race order a lot of times, or do you feel like with so much happening that it's really just anything goes, and qualifying times don't matter too much other than just being able to have good placement?
Personally, qualifying times, they mean a ton, but when you look at them at the end of the qualifying session, you can always see like a gap. It's usually around like P9, P10, somewhere around there where there's like a fall off, and you're going to have like a big group of like 1 through 7 running, and then a little bit of a gap, and then like P7 or P8 through P14 or whatever. But there's never like just a oh god, I'm sorry, I'm watching that spin into the wall. There's never like a, oh my god, this man has 2/10 a lap, he's gonna just pull away. Race pace is totally different. Like, Joel, what was your best lap? Did you run a 22.7 or whatever in the race?
No, 23.0.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
1,
I think
maybe.
my best lap was a 23.3 or something. So it means something, but it's kind of just like oh hey, when you put 15 liters of fuel in your car, it can go 3/10 faster because it's lighter.
And I say that not to sound like an idiot, but really to get your guys' perspective to more of the audience. I know a lot of the people in the chat are racers here in the league, but sometimes when people come in, they're like, oh, that sounds like a reasonable question, but it's really, when you think about it from a racing perspective, it's like it matters a ton. Being in that first position or pole position helps a ton, because you don't have to battle to get there. You don't have to battle anybody in front of you on a really race start unless you kind of hold up or don't have a great start. So it for me, I always don't like to actually be pole position when I race. Do you guys prefer the pole to not have that pressure, or do you like chasing?
Okay, so I come from iRacing, and many times I didn't like being on pole back then. Most of the time I wasn't up at the front anyway, but no, it's all different because it's very difficult to pass, as you can see, and qualifying has become much more important, especially for me anyways. I much rather start right at the front if I can now. There is quite a bit of anxiety still, but I still much rather to start right at the front. No.
I would also agree. I would much rather start in the first 3 rows than any further back. I was ecstatic with a P2 tonight. Ecstatic. And I threw it away.
Oh, we got Trackalicious. Sorry, guys, to interrupt. We got Trackalicious rating with a party of 7. Guys, welcome to the Mordecai stream. You just kind of missed the race, and we're actually just doing post-race interviews. So if you stick around, thanks. Otherwise, go ahead and hit that follow button. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
Oh, I was about done. You're all good, man.
Yeah, it was me. I was saying starting for the front helps a lot because pretty much the more farther back you are, the more you have to slow down. As well, I'm pretty sure we actually had a picture of someone doing all the analysis of just how much bigger distances you have to actually give to the car in front.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about, yes.
Yeah.
Let me find it if I can.
It's somewhere down there, but yeah.
Yeah, when you have like kind of like like it might be a P6 or 7 position car, just kind of almost brake checking kind of something in the back, is you end up getting caught in that, and you have that caterpillar effect that happens kind of which ends up being more contact through the field, which is always a consternation of any driver. I've always felt, if I'm not able to compete for the win coming out of the gate, being in pole position or in the top 5 or something like that, is being midfield always still provides some great racing opportunity. Do you guys ever go through this where if you don't feel like you've got the pace for that, top 5, top 10, that you're happy to just race in the midfield?
For me, I've typically had better qualifying pace compared to my race pace. And due to the Mercedes having really good power accelerating, I tend to get off the green light faster than other people. Whenever I'm on the second row or further back, I end up stuck behind people. Whereas when I was like on the front row of Zolder or front row at Nürburgring, I was able to get up ahead and have clear space. So even if I'm slower than other people, I much prefer to be up at the front at the start so I can get in the lead and hopefully just keep them behind me.
Guys, you guys are just making all of the backfielders just pissed off at all the guys that like to race up front.
As a silver that's in the mid pack, yeah, I'd love to be in a position where I could just be right out front, but yeah,
Same.
I
was hoping at least one of you would be like, yeah, I love mid pack racing.
I'm trying to learn to love it.
Guys, though. Sometimes I can mix it up with the pro guys and keep them back. Not very often, but
here's Giancarlo. Heated argument that you wanted.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to go for. I was trying to turn this into a talk show. Be like, well, I hate backpack racing, I hate mid-pack racing, and I hate the people in front of me. It's like, well, we just so happen to have somebody who loves backpack racing and somebody who is a mid-packer and the guy who's winning your races.
Don't forget the guy who cost you the win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's really great to see all of your guys' perspectives. I especially actually love this interaction here that we're having this time by. I hope we can actually continue kind of more of this discussion that we have at the end. I'm out of questions. I got nothing else I want to talk about. I want to go spend time with my wife. So if Gerson and Paul, if you guys got anything more, I'd love to hear it.
I've got nothing.
Well, I guess for Giancarlo and his wife's sake, I have nothing else myself. Quick little shout-outs, just really quickly. Carlos Plaza, we saw that unfortunate accident from him early in the race, which I think forced a retirement. And then we also saw a couple accidents with Brett Vaughn, unfortunately. I think it was lap traffic. We saw a couple moments with DB Cooper, Christopher Greer, and Bob Robson, of course. Unfortunately, not the great season that he was expecting. Here's Carlos Plaza. We barely caught it before. Unfortunately, this was a race retirement as he was leading the silver class. Not really sure what would have happened there. Looks like he just kind of forgot to stop.
I think he forgot to steer.
Reminds me of me.
Don't brake. I was gonna say during that whole event, because he didn't kind of continue on, his car was pretty busted. I think his wheel might have disconnected during the race, because if you look at it, he just goes right into the wall.
Yeah, you saying that either to me looks like his wheel disconnected or his game just crashed, because he was turning and then all of a sudden he was going straight and his inputs stayed exactly the same. If you look in the bottom right corner, and I've had that happen multiple times, you can like hear the game and you can feel the wheel moving like when you hit things, but you can't actually like change what your car's doing. So
Yeah,
could have been that.
You have a point there. The steer angle just resets automatically to 0 right there instantly.
THR Snakey says, looks like 94 Senna at Tamburello at much slower speeds.
Ouch.
Ouch. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Still too soon.
Still too soon. I don't think it's ever going to be not too soon for that.
That makes sense why he was just digging it into the wall here. It didn't make sense when we watched that live.
Yeah, it also makes sense when he tries to reverse and see if it would come back, and it didn't.
Yeah, just look at that front right. Just that axle's just destroyed. Or at least the suspension just bottoming out.
Yeah, see, he's able to steer it, so I think he got it back, but it was already too late at that point. So I think you might be onto something, Peter, is that it just kind of, it broke and, he might have alt-tabbed or something came up ahead of him. But
Yeah, something like that. Usually whenever the game crashes for me, I just slam on the brakes and feel the wheel bounce around as I hit things that I can't see. So I don't know, could be something like that, but it's unfortunate that happened. I know he's quick.
It's actually lucky that none of the other drivers were affected. He goes straight through this gap.
Yeah.
And then he comes back
and
across it.
immediately back. It's like, it's pretty lucky.
Yeah, Greer gets away, Debray, and then David Nelson as well coming up behind.
I think whoever's next has to slow down, but no collisions, which was pretty impressive.
But yeah, so that was the final race shout out I wanted to look at. But anyways, that's it for tonight's broadcast. Trackalicious, thank you again for the raid. Thanks again last week as well. That was awesome, man. And thank you guys for joining the post-race show. To you guys, Eric Diaz, Jeremy Mercer, Joel Dallas, Casper Minda, I believe one of the first times we see you in the post-race show, Peter O'Brien, Wes Lamy, all congratulations, guys, as well as Brandon Schmid, and I believe, who was the other silver driver?
Casper Minda.
Or aside from Casper?
Wes Lamy.
Aside from
Call him
Wes,
out for you.
one more.
East Lamy?
Debray, Carlos Plaza, Aiden Benitez.
Let's just shout out the whole field real quick.
Yeah, Nick Valeria. I mean, who do you want?
Third place
Bob Robson. Schmid wasn't in here.
Debray.
Rogerio, Mike Lewis.
No, it
That
was
was
Wayne
third event.
Wilson,
P1 there for the silver, Debray.
JD Daniels, Brendan Schmid. Wait,
But
are
that-
we still in silvers?
But that was a funny remark there by I think Joel, who said East Lamy.
Sorry,
Wait.
Wes.
Which, by the way, Wes, what was your brother's name?
David.
David Lamy.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully
David.
he's in the next season. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get into this one, but we're doing the team sprint together, so.
Nice. Well, be sure
That
to
sounds
tell
like a
him.
very lamey excuse.
Be sure to tell him he's Lamy too now. It's official.
Oh, I will.
All right. Well,
I want to do a quick shout out for Zolder just because I missed it. And I know everybody loves hearing their names. So Brendan Schmid, Brendan Schmid. The finishers, Jeremy Mercer for first place, Joel Dallas, Brendan Schmid, Peter O'Brien, Mike Seegers, Oswin Wilson, Silvers, Carlos Plaza, Debray, Raul Astolfo, Aiden Benitez, and Nick Valeria. We heard you had a fire alarm at your apartment. That super sucks. Hopefully next time.
It could be worse. He could have disconnected in the last lap.
oh man.
Oh,
Well,
wait, that
guys,
happened to me.
With that note, we're gonna end it here. So thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking around and chat. We'll see you guys back for the season finale next week, round 6 at Spa. That'll be the final race for the Inter America Challenge season 7. And we hope to see you guys back for season 8. And to all you pro drivers, congratulations heading into the final race of this championship. So with that said, guys, have a good night, and we'll see you back again next week.
Don't forget the Discord link.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Remember to hit the follow button.